You're listening to the AZREIA Show. If you're looking for quality real estate investing information that you can trust, you've found it. Stay tuned and join the tens of thousands of members that have already benefited from AZREIA, your home for education, market information, support, and networking opportunities that will advance your real estate investing career.
Welcome to the AZREIA Show. I'm Mike Del Prete, Executive Director of the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, and today I'm flying solo. Marcus is out of town in Chicago doing some real estate business, so I'm going to hold it down here for the AZREIA Show, and we got our good friend, longtime member, special guest, Alden of Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Ecstatic to be here today. It's a great Tuesday morning here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. It's great weather, great day. And then, so, everyone listening, Alden and his father, James, they are with, like I said, Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, and they're new business associates here at AZREIA. You've probably seen them around. They've had a booth for it the last year at our monthly meeting.
Been around.
So you probably already seen him, or you probably already know who he is or shook his hand. So I just want to invite you to kind of get to know them a little bit better, because I'm really excited to have them around this year. So let's, before all that, let's just kind of jump into you, Alden, right? Because if you look back at the AZREIA Show, Alden and his father were on the show maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, right around there.
All right. Yeah, so if you want to know more about their daily business and everything, jump on that. But I really wanted to kind of get to know Alden and, separately, and kind of see what he's working on and how he got into business. So let's just start there, man. Like, how'd you get exposed to real estate? How did it all start?
Yeah, so my father's been a longtime real estate investor, from wholesales to fix and flips to creative transactions. And in 2018, actually, here at AZREIA, happened to come into a subgroup meeting, and there was an individual that was buying manufactured homes to transport out of the communities, which we saw major challenge with, which out of challenge comes opportunity. So at that point, we implemented a fix and flip strategy, buying it there, rehabbing it there, and selling it there, opposed to the complications of transporting a unit. So a stabilized asset in manufactured home parks here in Arizona. So that was in 2018. We implemented that strategy. We're selling for cash for about the first year and did, say, $300,000 in business. But at that point, when we implemented seller finance out of need of the buyer's needs, because there's not much financing on manufactured housing, that's when we started doing a tremendous amount of transactions. So off the back of AZREIA, just networking with individuals, building repertoire, education's of utmost importance to make sure you're doing transactions correctly, and through that, build a successful business.
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to even rewind then, because your dad's been big time in Arizona real estate for a long time. I remember, as a wholesaler, there was always especially when you're new and you want to make sure you get a check in wholesaling, you're like, who's the major players? Right. And there's always James. I'm going to sell James a deal one day, right?
He's a good partner.
Yeah, man. So you grew up in this life, right? So when you were younger, I don't know how old you really were, Dad's probably been doing it forever, but were you always curious, or you're like, whatever, Dad's going to work?
I was always around real estate, walking construction projects and stuff like that. I think when I was 16 to 19, I was driving foreclosure properties. They were bidding live at the bank house steps. Mm-hmm. I'm uploading notes in a Google Sheets format, doing live transactions, and started negotiating with, tenants and stuff like that at a very young age. Oh, so wow. To have that, young, to get introduced, maybe not as educated as it may be now.
Of course.
But, that's worth its weight in gold.
Did you because what I'm getting at also, because you were in music, you're very creative. So It's so you weren't always around real estate.
Correct.
So did you have that real estate dream, or music dream before real estate?
No, that music and sales and marketing, all kind of go within each other, and to bring your case unique capabilities to the table, is important. And as I sit here at 31, I go back and look at, kind of the case unique items that I had fulfilled in. And it's kind of interesting, as it all comes full circle at the end of the day with marketing and music. Like I did a Silvercrest jingle. I did a Win Mobile Homes jingle.
Awesome.
So to see all that translate to today, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, 'cause as you know, I was in the music business, back in the day before real estate. And yeah, there's a lot of skills. Like in the music business, you got to network. It's all people, man.
Network, you got to market yourself. You got to be confident. It's hard to translate that at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you got to get people to show up to your show.
Time.
Or listen to your music or tell a friend about your music. Like you're an entrepreneur even as an artist.
Right.
So did any of it, so you're saying some of those skills are helping you in real estate?
Yeah. Our marketing online through mobile mailbox money and Win Mobile Homes is bar none in the industry. We blanket social media, whether it's an adjacent real estate investment conference or, another association. We've traveled to major note investment conferences nationally. And at those conferences, we're setting up interview style social media advertising through interviewing other magnates that are adjacent in their strategies from real estate notes, seller finance, creative finance. And to be able to really do all that myself, show up with cameras, raise the capital, have it intellectual conversation and make it all look really good. That's easier said than done. That's
another job.
Yeah.
Like just posting on social media is
for sure.
You're like, I'm trying to take care of my family, work, get into real estate, do real estate.
It's a heavy lift.
I got to be a social media guy.
But you got to be nimble now, it really takes that extra effort.
Yeah.
You can go and post one video and hope for major success, but really that's not what it's about anymore.
What's it about?
It's about velocity, really quantity over quality. You want it to be quality at the end of the day. Yeah. But, if you can push that with the same concise messaging, across with other adjacent branding, that's really where true success is had from blanket posting, online.
And what's crazy, you could even post that same video 50 times.
You could, yeah.
No one's going to know.
For sure.
So get out there and post, man, and let people know who you are. And especially when it comes to like raising money or doing deals, you want people to know that you're that real estate person.
Right. We've done millions in organic investment from our social media, from blogs to walkthroughs and testimonials to interviews at real estate conferences. It's been a blessing, to say the least.
So to kind of like wrap up on social media, what's the number one reason someone listening should at least participate in social media and putting themselves out there?
Yeah, it's hard to get started. It's a daunting feeling. Like you may post something and what's the reaction it's going to get? I would just start filming yourself sitting down and maybe not post it. Get comfortable with talking on camera, have some notes on the side or whatever until you do feel comfortable. Because the more you do that, you'll end up finding something that you want to post at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. Good. So social media, music, creativity, you took all that, wrapped it up. It's helping you in real estate. So what was the time like you, like when you're like, Dad, I don't even know if that's the conversation. I could be making it up. Like, I just know you guys. So it's like, I'm in. Like, what made that what made you want to be?
At some point, you have to jump off a cliff kind of thing and take a bigger risk. And I was finding challenge in my lifestyle of food and beverage at the time in 2017. I'd been a bartender in hospitality at nice places, and that lifestyle just wasn't it at the end of the day. So I was really looking for a change. And when I approached my father, historically he was doing larger level projects where little old me at the time, didn't provide enough value to, fit within the circle to get paid and make it all make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of in 2018 when I made that decision and asked him for his opinion, what are should I do? I'm really looking to do something different. And that's when it all kind of came to a figure point, started attending AZREIA more. And so now I'm sitting here today with Mike Del Prete.
Okay, so I'm going a little deeper here. So like, what happens a lot? Like, you made the call to Dad, asked his opinion. Now, obviously, we know what the opinion was because you're here.
Yeah.
10 years later, like,
Rip it.
Yeah.
Rip the Band-Aid.
What about those family members out there, those sons and daughters that they grew up in entrepreneurship, right? Like, and I don't know, they're struggling to work with their parents, or they don't want to be like their parents, or they want to be better than their parents, or I'm sure there's like a lot of weird feelings there. I don't know personally, like, but like, because it seems like you guys have a great relationship. And I joked with you guys, like, I hope my son is like you guys, and how does someone get there if they're struggling to be in that type of relationship?
First off, my dad's a rare breed, and I'm blessed to say the least. Shout out to James Guajardo.
Yeah.
But, it's never as hard as what it seems at the end of the day. Concerted effort and, a fervent aggression towards change and massive action will put a lot of that to rest. All that stuff's going to happen and be there regardless. Whether it's that relationship, a relationship with a professional associate, or a buy and a sell, or, all of that comes, and it's a trick of the trade to learn. It's just things you got to learn to live with at the end of the day, because we can sit here and lay blame or, make excuses. If it was only this way, I would be so much better off. Or if my father was this way and he was my partner, I'd be a millionaire. The amount of times that people say that, everyone has that thought in every way, whether it's your business partner, your father, your mother, your sister, your uncle, just got to learn to navigate with the cards that you have at the end.
Well said, man. Yeah, good stuff, man. I like that. And like, there's a lot there, right? Like, I like just want to know your guys' story, your background, because, when I definitely recommend everyone, getting to know you guys and working with you at some level, because like what we say in the political world is like, I think it was John Adams, he says, you vote for someone that when you know the principles they stand on, right? Like, you guys,
Dude,
got
I
a lot.
started washing dishes.
Yeah.
From washing dishes to being a valet to being a bartender, to evaluating foreclosure homes, to originating notes, raising capital. To that's a pretty well breadth of life experience at the end of the day. So the people out there that feel like they can't get to a position where they're successful just because they may have started on a certain, it's not as hard as what it seems.
Got it. Yeah, great foundation, man, up there. So love it. Let's keep building on top of that story here. So let's see I would like to go into. So we went. What are you doing now? Like what's your business world look like in real estate?
Yeah. So the last 8 years, Wynn Mobile Homes has now cultivated to be the largest dealer of manufactured housing in Arizona.
Awesome.
So quick little clap for that. So through that success, we've implemented a higher level institutional play into performing debt that we originate, double underwritten clients at a 14% interest rate.
I know everyone listening is smarter than me. They probably got what you just said. So what's the motto? Like, you buy mobile homes and parks,
yes.
And then what do you do? Like, kind of layman's terms, just walk me through it so I could dive in.
So vertically integrated in manufactured housing, what does that mean? Right? We acquired the home on a lot lease community in an institutionally owned park here in Arizona. Mesa, Tempe, Phoenix, Glendale, Apache Junction, move to market, right? Demand those areas. We'll buy it, rehab it there, sell it there. How do we sell it? We sell it on financing, right? So lot of
someone brings you a deal or you get a referral. It's a beat up mobile home, double wide, single wide in a park.
Distressed or needs to sell, recently inherited, maybe an eviction.
You go in there, clean it up, buy it, clean it up. You work with now you're leasing from the park.
Correct.
And you're the owner of the.
We're effectively arbitraging the land.
Yeah.
right? So opposed to a manufactured home being affixed to residential property, that price point on a real property mobile home combination could be $250,000 to $400,000, depending on what market. Whereas these homes are 50 to 150,000. So our dollar goes a lot farther in comparison to adjacent strategies. And if we combine that with a seller finance component, with the affordability of the asset, right? A $50,000 home.
So you're buying it cheap,
Correct.
fixing it up, quality, right? But like affordable, like what the neighborhood desires. And then you go, all right, now we got to sell this thing. And you sell it on a carryback, you're saying.
Yeah, so seller carry will originate a first lien note, a promissory note. In other words, a promise to pay. In layman's terms, an IOU.
All right.
Right.
I think of Dumb and Dumber, that movie, when all the IOUs. Probably too old. No, I get it.
This one's a gem.
This one's a real one. No, all right, cool. So you got a promissory note, you got a first lien. So you sell it to someone. Let's just say we always do $100,000, right, for our real estate world.
Yeah, easy number.
So you bought it, let's say $20,000. You put 20 into it. You're into it at 40, 50 maybe, and then you put a sales sign out front going $100,000 owner finance.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So as we sell that property to Jane, she qualifies through underwriting to get the loan. So opposed to us just sitting down at a table drafting an agreement, she went through formal processes to facilitate the financing.
So she's getting qualified.
She's getting
not just taking any warm body off the street.
Exactly.
Got it.
And that's important to understand. A lot of people see a younger individual in the industry and have the connotation that I may not know how to originate a note or what proper avenues in order to do so legally.
Yeah.
So as we've cultivated that strategy, the velocity seen in the market, we underwrite them to Dodd-Frank compliance, have a licensed mortgage officer on staff, and package that note in a way that we can either exit, borrow against, or absorb it into my fund. So we buy it, rehab it, sell it on financing, on paper, seller finance, no banks involved, and we raise the capital for those positions.
And it sounds like, the person that's coming in, how much do they usually have to put down?
10% down.
10% down. And then in between, how does it work with their payment and the lot rent? Everything?
So our reverse calculation for what makes sense on our exit via seller carry finance is the affordability of the home payment and the lot rent together. If we can match or beat market rent with that number, that's really where the analysis proves a successful program. As opposed to trying to sell a $300,000 mobile home on land at a high yield seller finance that doesn't match market rent, we're capitalizing on that affordability and now turning renters into homeowners, which is of utmost importance, across the nation. Klaus Schwab said by 2030, they're going to own 30% of residential real estate, and you're going to own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
What a travesty that is. Where this really starts to make sense because it's affordable.
Yeah. They now own the mobile home.
They own the home. They're on title. They get ownership. We have first lien, a bank equality position, and they rent the lot from the institution.
They're qualified and they have an affordable payment.
Got qualified through the park. So the park requires a 600 plus credit or ITIN number, no past criminal, no open bankruptcies, no past evictions, and verifiable income. That's the first round. It's almost like a HOA style application process for the park.
Yeah.
And then they additionally go through a secondary underwriting to facilitate the loan.
That's right. They got to do an application with the park as well as all your.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's akin to almost like a HOA style component. They have to prove they're an upstanding citizen in order to move into the community.
Got it. So all right. So that's the mobile mailbox money business.
So
do I have that correct?
Mobile mailbox money came out of the want to advertise real estate notes.
Okay.
And so all notes that we originate are via Win Mobile Home. right? The dealer of mobile homes. I'm a partner in one mobile home. And 2 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, time flies, we were attending Paper Source in Las Vegas, and I was trying to figure out how to touch every person in the room. So I coined the term mobile mailbox money, launched a page, and did some targeted advertising geographically around that venue. So that's where mobile mailbox money came from, really mobile home mailbox money, seller finance notes on manufactured housing. So that's where all that came to fruition.
Got it. So now how does, that's what you guys are doing, that's what's working. Obviously you guys are finding success in that. And then, so how does Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, what is that? And then how does that come into play into your daily business?
Yeah, so we've done, 350 manufactured home flips via seller carry finance and $15 million in private capital towards our notes. Through that success, we started a Reg D 506C accredited investor fund, Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, and I manage that fund currently. We're 2 years out of our infancy, and we have about 1.6 million currently working in our portfolio, and it's all performing currently.
Oh, man. And then obviously you guys are out there doing the transactions, finding the mobile homes, running that whole business, and you guys are raising money to continue this.
Yeah,
okay.
Kind of a vertical integration and full ecosystem that we control, from providing quality collateral to originating the note to leveraging the note. My objective would be to hold every note that we originate, and raise $50 million and pay my investors above average returns and have the feel good investment strategy of providing a needed service, which is affordable housing. I've had people cry at closing, because they've been left out of the opportunity for so long.
For the last so many years, man.
100%.
Yeah.
This rent when I was in high school, you could rent a 2-2 for $700.
Mobile or house?
This is a home.
Oh, yeah.
An apartment.
Got it.
Where now it's $2,000 a month is the benchmark really across the valley. So I think a lot of Arizonans have been blindsided because of that factor. And there's, the biggest thing in the news at any given time is affordable housing, and it's just a challenge. I think it's a challenge for the builders trying to build affordable stuff because of labor and material. By the time they buy the lot, it doesn't make sense, and they price it out of affordability. Where this truly starts, the rubber hits the road. 10% of housing, I think in the nation is manufactured housing, but there's little institutional financing on these homes, and out of challenge comes opportunity to scale that.
Yep. Awesome. So yeah, you're giving people another outlet, another opportunity to get in a home. So tell me about who's the type of person that invests in Silvercrest? Who's that? Give me a scenario.
Avatar?
Who's that? Yeah. Who would be interested in that, and how's that work?
So historically, it's been note investors, note investors as well as tired landlords, people that have owned, say, 5 to 20 single family properties and are tired of managing an asset, right? That's a great avatar, a doctor, lawyer, a dentist, a high W-2 income earning individual who doesn't have the time to go and evaluate a single family property to buy and rent it, or, is tired of paying maintenance, management, insurance, and taxes. That's a note strategy most people don't know. And there's not a big push on note investment, because you talk to a lot of people and they've heard of it or whatever it may be, but they find challenge implementing and getting into that strategy. So the passive investor is really someone that we've coined and started to court to raise capital and deploy, and they can earn a 10 to 14% return on their money without the complications of owning an asset. It's all the benefits of earning in real estate without owning any real estate. Collateralized lending opportunity, you buy a loan and you become the bank, opposed to sweat equity in wholesaling, sweat equity and buying and renting.
I see that a lot here, Azreia. You know, you get the doctors, the lawyers, they come in, they know they need to have real estate in their portfolio at some level for so many different reasons. And they're like, they're smart, they're confident, I'm going to flip, I'm going to wholesale, I'm going to buy rentals. Then they're like taking the classes and they're coming to the networking events and they're like, this is business. Right. Like, Mike, what do we do? Like, so here at AZREIA, we're operators, right? Like, you guys are operators, right? So yeah, you could easily find outlets like Silvercrest. And so, okay, so there's that, you know, like someone could potentially say, hey, I got a 401k, I got an IRA, whatever it may be, cash sitting in the bank account. And you're not getting at least inflation return on your cash right now.
Losing money.
You're losing buying power. So yeah, you want to work with an operator that knows what they're doing. So, okay, so they can potentially work with you on investing in the Silvercrest. What about, like, do you do one-off deals? Like, hey, I got one mobile home and one park and one play. Do you do that?
Yeah, so it's a multifaceted program. You know, we're very nimble in that accord because we originate the note and control the asset from the very beginning. So that same note, I have virtually 4 different eggs. You know, I can sell that one note to one investor and they cash flow and take that note out of my portfolio. They make the full yield on that transaction and they can buy that at Mailbox. That same note, I can actually leverage, so I can borrow private money from one note, one investor, non-accredited or accredited, and we cash flow together. You effectively hitch your cart to a qualified operator, and we pledge that asset in order to garnish capital investment, right? So I can pledge that at a double-digit yield, and we both perform in as little as 30 days. That's the second exit. The third, I could absorb it in my fund, where a seasoned investor accredited can become a per unit owner share in my portfolio, and at no cost to the investor. If anything goes non-performing, re-perform that.
And what's an accredited investor?
So accredited is $1 million in net worth, excluding your personal residence, 200,000 a year singular income, or 300,000 combined with your significant other.
Got it. And why can you only work with accredited?
So we chose to go with an accredited investment fund because I can publicly market my rates of return. So when you see Silvercrest on the Super Bowl one day, 10% or better, you never know.
Yeah, no, you can do it, man. Or you can create your own Super Bowl halftime.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Life's at our disposal at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. Cool. Okay. So, like, if you're out there, obviously you guys are very busy, well known, and you cover a lot. We covered a lot today. So, which is very cool. So if you're interested in, you know, getting to know Alden better and Silvercrest or mobile mailbox money, how do they reach you?
You can search mobile mailbox money on Google. We have 950 videos on YouTube.
Nice.
So I started blogging like 2 years ago, and it shows our whole journey from me just sitting there talking to a phone up to setting up interview stuff at National Note Investment Conference. You could call us direct at 602-888-2274. There's mobilemailboxmoney.com that they could visit to see education and videos and maybe even buy a note. Silvercrestopportunity.com has a credit strategies tab that informs a investor of our strategy, some background, the market, and things of that nature. And if you're just curious about housing, what our homes look like, winmobilehomes.com, they can view live homes for sale. So those 3 businesses are all very widely available across every social media platform. So yeah,
check them out, get to know them, see who they are. Actually, and they're always at our Phoenix monthly meeting at Venue 8600, and they have a booth there, nice little setup. You meet them in person, shake their hand, ask questions. So that's on the second Monday of the month, the AZREIA monthly meeting.
Must attend in
person. Nothing beats in person networking.
I'll tell you, the contacts I've made here at AZREIA are literally life-changing from the very beginning, at the end of the day. And I commend you. You throw a great event, you have a great association.
Thank you.
And you attract a wide breadth of all walks of life.
Yep.
from the beginning to the seasoned, there's something there for you at the end of the day. And if you think there's not, it's probably an internal problem more than the room.
Yeah.
If you can't get into a room of 150 people that are all in the want for the same thing and find some common ground, you're probably need more education or something of that nature.
I'll take that alley-oop and you can get my book, Fearless Connections. I talk about like 8 or 9.
Today.
Yeah, buy today. No, I started at AZREIA 15 years ago, started teaching 8 years ago, took over 5 years ago, and I just wrote about a few stories about how I networked, all networking and relationships because of AZREIA. So
it's all about the relationship at the end of the day. And where do you find that room with other seasoned individuals or not to just bounce stuff back and forth? That's important. If you don't have a mentor or, whatever it may be, that's where things really start to make sense. You could be the most seasoned individual in the nation and not have any relationships and do no business.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find people to do business with.
That's true.
You can sit here and try and do it all yourself, but you're only going to get so far. Our team is well diversified, from 15 in rehab to 7 in sales, 5 in management, me and my father, and other, about 100 investors that we've met, that are adjacents in relationship. To build a team, it takes a lot, but it's truly needed.
Yeah.
In order to scale any business, you got to find other intelligent people to team up with. Otherwise, you're only going to get so far.
I agree, man. So let's talk about the team really quick then. And before we wrap up, having that team and everything you just said, tell me about a situation where maybe the deal didn't go that well. And because of you, your team, and how you guys operate, like you fixed it or saved it or something. I don't know. Tell me.
So someone says they've never lost money on a deal.
Mm-hmm.
They probably haven't done enough deals.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're very lucky because our underwriting facilitates a low default rate of about 2%.
Mm-hmm.
So there is risk in investment.
Of course.
You have to take a risk, a calculated risk and risk mitigated. But at the end of the day, if you do enough deals, something's bound to go wrong. So with manufactured housing, it's kind of unique. The default is about 40 days. It's a repossession because it's a personal property unit. So opposed to a single family foreclosure processes that could take upwards of 6 months, depending on what kind of market, it's a relatively quick default. Are we in the business of taking people's houses back? Not by any means.
Yeah.
We'll go at great lengths to preserve capital, right? And maybe even do a loan modification, put a payment on the back of the loan or whatever it may be. We don't market that to our borrowers, but it's important to be nimble in that aspect. But if someone puts their head in the ground, there's recourse.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've taken back a handful of properties, and like one, for instance, right? This individual bought a property from us. They put money down. We seller financed, and a few years later, they fell on hard times.
Mm-hmm.
So we've probably already tried to put a payment on the back of the loan at that point, and it just didn't work. So we repossessed the asset, but actually re-rented to the homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
So opposed to putting them through eviction and things of that nature, really, we're in it for the payment.
Yeah.
I want a performing asset at the end of the day. So that was just kind of one nimble example of repossessing and reperforming an asset. Have we had to take it to the 9th hole and take someone to full eviction?
Yeah.
That's the case.
It happens.
It's $700 for an attorney to do it who's on retainer, which is a very nominal fee. And after 60 days, we've gotten the house back retitled. Things.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. So you have them retained. So with the staff and everything, you keep your costs. Helps keep the cost down when these things arise.
Yeah.
So man, you're trying to keep the people in there if you can, get them through tough times. Sometimes, especially in the AZREIA world, when we're looking at like the media and the evictions and all this stuff that they put on
or the fear mongering.
It's like we don't want to kick anybody out, right? If someone's going through tough times, I'd rather drop their rent for a few months or whatever, or help them out for a few months versus kick them out, do a turn, spend $5,000 on paying car,
Yeah.
So it's like we're always incentivized to work with people and keep them there. And I'm glad that you guys do that. And another stigma that hits our world is, jokingly you hear it, it's like, oh, if I do a carryback, they put $5,000 down and they disappear in a year, I'll do it all over again, start out.
Right.
What's that really solve? What's that do?
Easier said than done at the end of the day. That's a lot of bells and whistles to be pulling around and risk. At the end of the day, a non-performing asset could go non-performing for a while, depending on how long it takes you to sell. What's the market like? All areas that have to be navigated when fully foreclosing or repossessing. I'd rather take title and re-rent to that person, all day.
Got it. So let's see, as we wrap up, what would you say to someone who's hesitant to get into real estate investing?
YouTube University is great. AZREIA has a tremendous amount of online education, free stuff, as well as paid education. Getting in the room is important. There's Business Network International that's here today.
Yeah.
I'm a chapter member in the BNI Connectors. So we've done a tremendous amount of business in there. Get out and get into those rooms, get curious and get out of your comfort zone. All of those are levels to success. But to conquer those and get over your fears and get up off the couch if you're maybe a habitual educator, and take a risk. If it hits most of your check boxes, it's probably going to work out.
Love it.
So, quick words of encouragement.
No, love it, man. No, thanks for being here today. Glad to have Silvercrest on board here at AZREIA. So welcome officially. And check out Silvercrest. Come to the monthly meeting, meet them in person. Do you guys give out, there's a specific website? If they want to sit down and talk to you right now, what do they do?
So they can email me, at Alden@winmobilehomes.com. You can call me direct. My direct line's 480-923-6456. I answer my phone.
Good.
I don't know how people do business with not answering their phones.
Wild.
There's probably a challenge going on, if there's a communication barrier. But we're easily accessible. I invite people to our mastermind. We do that every Thursday at 1:00 Mountain Standard Time. And that's a live deal flow, due diligence environment, as involved or uninvolved as you'd like. And we do it all for free. And the want for transparency and trust. Why? Because people do business with the people they know, like, and trust. So hopefully that fulfills that with the 950 videos I have online. The masterminds, me answering my phone, hopefully that puts a level of safety and security, into one's portion of their portfolio.
Love it, man. Well said. Thanks for keeping a high bar in real estate investing. So everyone listening, make sure to like, subscribe, comment. We'll have Alden's information in the show notes. And most importantly, if you're new to real estate investing or you're curious, go to azreia.org/12 steps, 12 steps. I wrote a 12-day email series, 12 essential steps to getting involved in real estate investing. And I encourage you to hit reply when you read it every day, and I'll talk to you personally on there. Or just check out azreia.org/calendar and check out our event. We do about 10 to 12 a month. We'll have plenty of events for you to participate in. Besides that, that's a wrap of the AZREIA show. And thanks, Alden.
Thanks for listening to the AZREIA Show with your hosts, Marcus Maloney and Mike Del Prete. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you found this information valuable, head over to azreia.org and learn more about our community.